Gavin, welcome to Halloween Daily. Thank you so much for talking to me today.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for having me. I'm excited to chat, dude.
Well, I'm definitely excited. You have been a part of some really cool projects here lately, including a little film that our audience is familiar with called Halloween Kills that we're going to talk about in a few minutes, and some of the other cool stuff that you've been working on as well that I'm very excited to discuss with you. But you know, this is Halloween Daily News where every day is Halloween, so we always like to start a little bit about the holiday itself and what Halloween means to you. Do you celebrate Halloween? And if so, have you celebrated always growing up?
I do. Yeah, Halloween's been a big part of growing up, and it's funny that you asked that because I watched the interview you did with Salem, and she had told me before that she doesn't celebrate Halloween. And watching the interview back reminded me of that. And I'm like, oh my God, how hilarious is that she doesn't celebrate Halloween, but she's in one of the biggest Halloween franchises.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've always celebrated Halloween. Sadly, I didn't go this year. I wish I would have. I know I'm 17, but you know what? Who cares? You know?
Yeah, you're never too old.
Yeah, you're never too old. So yeah, Halloween has been a big part of my life as far as celebrating it, and I would say it's probably my favorite holiday.
Awesome. Do you have a favorite Halloween costume from years past? And also, we always like to ask for your favorite Halloween candy.
Oh, favorite Halloween costume and candy. Not particularly any costume. I think I was always something random every year. The older I got, the funnier things I wore. Last year, I think I wore one of those alien suits where it looks like the alien is abducting you.
Yeah.
So and Halloween candy, gosh, like I'm such an indecisive person, but I'd say probably Sour Patch Kids or something like that. Yeah, those are pretty good. I'm not gonna lie. When I get those, I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, they are pretty good, I admit. So when did you first realize, or how did you become interested in acting?
Well, when I was like 9 or 10 years old, I started a YouTube channel, and I just posted random videos online, and it was funny because I did Q&A videos, but I acted as if my fans asked me. They were all, questions I came up for myself. But yeah, and a director of a short film ended up seeing one of these videos, and he was like, hey, he reached out to my mom. He was like, hey, has your son ever considered being in movies? And my mom asked me if I wanted to be in a movie, and I was like, heck yeah, I want to be in a movie. So we went down to Atlanta and we auditioned for it, and it was a very nerve-wracking experience, but I ended up booking it. And once I got on set, it was really weird. It was like I just loved being there. Like, unlike anything, my passion before acting was baseball, and there was nothing. If you would have asked me when I was playing baseball, would I ever be an actor, I would have said no. I love baseball so much. But it was very weird. When I got on set that day, I just, there was something about being there that I was like, I want to do more of this. So we just kind of continued on.
And how old did you say you were when you did that first audition?
I think I was 10 or 11 years old.
Wow. Yeah. So that must have been an experience at that age. I mean, and what was the film?
It is a short film called Spooked. I believe it's like the first things. If you scroll down the IMDb, you'll be able to find it. It's it was a horror movie was which is just funny. And I don't remember. I think it was about just some haunting. For film.
Very cool. So again, kind of foreshadowing some things to come.
Right.
Not too many years later. Well, speaking of horror films, that was going to be another question I wanted to ask. Are you a fan of scary movies yourself?
Man, when I was younger, I would force myself to watch them just because I was like, come on, you got this, you can do it. But they terrify me. I, as I've gotten older, I've grown more of an appreciation for them. But as far as like, it's weird because the Halloween franchise and Freddy Krueger and
Mhm.
goodness, Jason Voorhees and all of them, I grew up watching that stuff.
Yeah.
Chucky as well. I would watch those movies religiously with my cousin and brother. Um, but as far as like, those movies were scary, but when it comes to like paranormal things and like ghostly things, those even to this day still freak me out. But I'm getting there. I'm getting to the point where I can handle them.
Very cool. So, so from those first auditions and that first short film, I guess you just kept at it and you get parts in films. I mean, I know I checked out your IMDb and you did some work on Stranger Things at a certain point. I mean, that must have been pretty cool just being on that set and being around that. What season was that? Was it Stranger Things at that point or?
It was the second season. It
Okay.
was because it would, it had just blown up. First released and everybody loved it. And yeah, I after I did that first short film, I did a lot of I think we got an agent and either that or we just submitted to do a lot of background work.
Mhm.
I was able to get background on shows like Ozark as well as Stranger Things. And man, like I tell you what, every cast member on Stranger Things, man, they are some amazing kids. They are some really, really nice, just down to earth, genuine kids. They would go up and talk to the background actors. And actually, when I was younger, my hair, it looked a lot like Finn's. And we were getting lunch in the cafeteria one afternoon. And Gaten Matarazzo and Caleb McLaughlin came up to me and they were like, Finn. And I look up, it's Finn, and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, dude. Like, I didn't mean to do that. I thought you were Finn. And I'm sitting there like starstruck, like I don't even think I said a word to them. I might have just laughed and said, oh, I was so nervous. But yeah, that was to this day, I still miss the beginning days of acting and being on that set in particular.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, hey, you never know. Maybe you'll be back on a Stranger Things set at some point.
I sure hope so. I really do.
That is really cool to hear, though, that they were so kind and nice and just cool to be around and to everybody on set. But yeah, that must have been a wild time to be there, like you said, right as season one was blowing up and going into it in season two, knowing the phenomenon that it already was. That had to have been a crazy time.
Yeah, it was. And man, because you always worry when you get on shows like that and you're with these people who have just recently blown up. It always goes through the back of your mind. Like, I hope that they're not rude. I hope that they're good people. And it's crazy to see how genuine they truly were. They were a blast to hang out with.
That's really cool to hear. Makes us happy to be fans of the show even more.
Right. Yeah.
Another show that we love that you worked on is the Righteous Gemstones, and you played a young Danny McBride, played young Jesse Gemstone. So can you tell us a little bit about that? How you got involved with that show and what that experience was like? I love that show.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you watching it. It's it's crazy. I never imagined I'd be a part of anything to that extent, and let alone Halloween Kills. Yeah. And I would say I got on Halloween Kills mainly because of the Gemstones and knowing David. Mm-hmm. But yeah, so it was funny because this was during a part of my career where I just was like, okay, this is awful. Like, we were doing so many auditions, like 5 a week, and like, you know, we just weren't booking. It's hard to take a lot of no's over and over again, and that on top of school, it was just very stressful. And I had just gotten put on hold for a show, and they said that I was the director's pick, and I was so excited. And at the last minute, they ended up going with somebody else. So I was really down. And then I just got a call, and they were like, "Hey, you've auditioned for this before, but we want you to audition for it again because you have more information on the character." And we saw it was a young Danny McBride, and we were like, "Okay, cool." So we watched a couple of clips on some movies that he's done, and we just gave it our best shot. And a week or two later, you know, I was still feeling down, and we just got a call, and my whole agency was on the phone, and they all delivered the news that I was going to play the young Jesse Gemstone. Or I had gotten a call back for it. I apologize. I got a call back for it. So we went all the way to Charleston, and it was weird. They had me, it was weird in a great way. Like, they brought me on set to do the callback. I apologize. I have a train that's like a mile from my house. It's every like 45 minutes.
That's cool.
So we got on set while they were filming, and I sat in front of David, and David's very much a person that loves to do improv, and I love that about him. He you know, he'll stick to the gist of the script, but he lets you play around with it. So we just kind of really had fun. He sat me outside of on a porch, you know, and they were filming 100 feet away, and I just did the scene, and he wanted me to play around with it. So I just came up with a couple of things off the top of my head. And 2 weeks later, I got the final confirmation that I was going to play Jesse Gemstone.
Wow, that's awesome. And so when you got that role and working on that, did you have much interaction with your older self, with Danny McBride, like off screen? And were there any things like about him that you specifically wanted to try to work into your version of the character?
Well, it's funny because I had seen him in The Land of the Lost. I had seen him in a few other movies too that I can't seem to. I don't have them on the top of my head, but I love Danny McBride, but I didn't quite know him by name. I'm awful with names, but when I saw his face, I was like, "Oh my God, I love him." Yeah. So I had seen a couple of movies that he had done before, and when I got the call that I was going to go in 2 weeks to Charleston for a callback, we sat down and we watched all of Vice Principals. And I fell in love with that show. It was hilarious. We didn't get to watch much of Eastbound and Down before we did the Gemstones, but Vice Principals is a lot of where I pulled a lot of inspiration from. I didn't actually get to meet Danny until we got on set, and he was also, you know, very busy directing and things like that. So I didn't have much interaction, but when I did, he was amazing. And but yeah, I think I pulled mainly just from Vice Principals and his character in that.
That's great. So I guess at that point, like you said, you had worked with David and Danny, and it's not long after that when they're making the new Halloween that would be Halloween Kills. And you said that kind of one led into the other, and obviously with the same team, a lot of the same behind the scenes crew. So how did that work out? Can you walk us through how you got involved with Halloween Kills?
Absolutely. We had just finished the Gemstones a month prior, and you know, things were kind of going slow. I was just auditioning for all types of things, and one day I get an audition from the same casting director that casted me in the Gemstones, and we're like, "Oh, that's awesome, Lisa May, Fincannon." And we were like, oh my God, we love her. Like, that's awesome. So we looked at the audition and we were reading the script, and it sounded like it was underneath, at the time, it was underneath the name Mob Rules. And we read it and we were like, this is really weird. Like, this sounds familiar. Like, this sound, matter of fact, I auditioned, the scene that I auditioned for was the scene where the police officer pulls up next to the kids and tells them, have you seen a man in a mask running? I think it's the flashback.
Yep.
And yeah, so like we read it and we were like, this sounds familiar. I don't know why, but this sounds really familiar. Like, it's been done before, but you know, whatever. So we auditioned for it. They told us it was in the 1970s. So I asked my neighbor to borrow an older shirt of his from the 70s. And I did the audition, and I got a call back for it, just like the Gemstones. And so they wanted me to go to Wilmington and for the callback. And we went to Wilmington, and I was sitting in the waiting room, and you could hear, it was funny because you could hear everybody auditioning. The walls were so thin. So you could hear the reaction. And I was like, please, God, like, let there be, like, I'm so hoping either Danny or David's in there, because we had so much fun together on the Gemstones. Like, I was like, if they're in there, I'll be okay. Because I always get so nervous before any audition. And I walked in there, and there David was, and he gave me a big hug. And this was before the episode had came out. So I asked him if the scene where I'm underneath the donkey in the Gemstones, I asked him, I said, please tell me you left that in there. He goes, well, you're just going to have to wait until it comes out. And I'm like, I knew you would say that. So he just had me audition in front of him, and David's an awesome guy. He's very funny too. He likes to mess with you. So at one point, I performed the audition a couple of times. This was when they had switched it around, and now we were doing, in fact, I auditioned for Giselle's character. I think they at last minute kind of switched things around. And yeah, so this is after I had auditioned performed a couple of times, and he just was like, okay, Gavin, I want you to just like kind of grunt into the like, you know, just grunt for me. So I was like, ugh. He was like, yeah, that's good. Just keep doing that. And I go, ugh. And he, hey, yeah, keep doing that. I like that. And I think he was just messing with me the entire time. I don't think that held any importance to the audition. But yeah, and so I think it was a week later after that, I found out that I believe, I could be wrong, but I believe John Carpenter called my mom.
Oh, wow.
And said that I got the role. I could be wrong. That might be a stretch, but I'm pretty sure it was John Carpenter that called my mom and said that I booked it.
Wow.
It was a crazy, weird experience.
That's amazing. So you booked it, and so like you said, originally you went in to audition for the flashback, and you were prepared for the flashback, and so then during that process, it was switched up to be one of the trick-or-treaters, and like you said, all you guys were kind of switching around, I guess, until the last minute, it sounds like. Now at this point, not being a huge horror fan, how familiar were you with the Halloween franchise, the original film, Michael Myers?
Well, I had loved watching like even though I'm not a huge horror fan, like me, those movies didn't bother me as much. They did still scare me, but I remember growing up on those movies, and but I would never, I was too young to know how to change the channel or to pick a specific one. But I had known of Michael Myers for the longest time, and loved Jason Voorhees and Chucky and all of them. So immediately, when I read that the first audition, I was like, this sounds like Michael Myers. But I don't remember watching the original one. So when I think when we got done filming it, I went back and I watched the 1970s version, and I was blown away. I was like, yeah, I do remember seeing this, but now that I'm older and I can look at it from a different perspective, like that movie was just golden. It is it's really an amazing film. But yeah, it was I was semi-familiar, but I had to remind myself. I had to go back and remind myself, and now I'm like, wow, I cannot believe I got to be a part of that.
And it's a pretty great sequence of scenes. Especially, we love the whole thing of the trick-or-treaters coming to the Myers house. You know, we got the Johns there, Big John, Little John, and you guys show up, and it's just a really fun scene. And it's got, obviously it's loaded with Easter eggs for the fans, and with the Halloween 3 silver Shamrock masks, and of course all of it taking place at the Myers house. I just think it's just a big old Easter egg basket for the fans, basically. So can you talk us a little bit about filming that scene? And you got to actually wear the skull mask, is that right?
I did, yes. And the funny thing about that is that was a last minute decision, David. And I'm so glad he did that, because I think it added to the scene so much more, especially when Michael's holding my mask later in the film.
Yeah.
So yeah, we did the whole scene a couple of times without the mask, and it was at the last minute. David was like, "Hey, throw on the mask for me real quick," and I was like, "All right." But so it was all in a studio, which blew me away. It was the first time I had ever been inside of like a warehouse studio thing, and yeah, 4 houses on one street that were completely built, and then another 4 houses completely built on the other side of the street, and it was fake trees everywhere, and it blew me away. It was incredible. And yeah, we just rehearsed it a couple times, and got a feel for what we were going to do. And when we eventually got back to the set to start filming it, we just had a blast. We did the scene, and it was the bowl of candy. I remember the entire scene. It was a blast to film, but my God, I could not for the life of me manage to. David wanted me to grab the bowl of candy from inside, dump it in the bag, go out to the front, say, "I've got the whole dang bag," and then come down. It was a bowl full of like fake brand candy. And I just couldn't for the life of me get the candy in the bowl. Like in time, they would have an act for me, and a couple seconds later, want me to be out on the front porch. And man, I can't tell you how many times I just came out with an empty bag, or I just accidentally dumped the candy all over the floor. And then when I got on the porch, David was like, "Yeah, just chuck the bowl. Just chuck it out of the way. It's fine. We don't need it anymore." And after a few takes, the bowl started breaking. So a crew member was like, "We changed that. We're not going to throw the bowl anymore." And then I kept on calling the bowl a bag. The line was, "I got the whole dang bowl," but I kept on saying, "I got the whole dang bag." And oh man, it just was like, it was an amazing experience. But I was so nervous being on that set, and being at the Michael Myers house, that it showed. It showed.
Well, I guess it had to have helped a little bit having David there, and already having previously worked with him, and at least in that limited fashion on the series. But yeah, I mean, the magnitude of what you guys were filming, and I've heard that they recreated that section of the neighborhood on the sound stage there in Wilmington, and it looked dead on screen. I mean, the attention to detail was really great. So was that the most I was going to ask, the most challenging thing about filming? Was that it? The getting the bowl pour it into the bag right? Because it
That
would
would
be a little difficult to do it with.
Yeah, and oh my gosh, I think this was when, and he also wanted me to pull the mask up when I got out onto. This was before they had decided just to leave the thing on for the entire scene. He wanted me to get out there and then pull it up, and I was already nervous. And yeah, just like as embarrassing as that sounds, truthfully, the hardest part was was pouring the bowl of candy in a bag. You wouldn't think that's very hard, but with me, simple things like that can be.
Yeah, well, no, I can totally understand how that could be a little difficult to get it all in there. The bag's a little flimsy and everything, but
Right, and I'm trying to mark on the right time, and oh man, it was nerve-wracking, but I did have a blast though.
and I mean, did you guys know? Because I asked Giselle and Salem this. For the fans, those masks, the three silver Shamrock masks, that's a big deal. Halloween 3, they were introduced, and then they kind of had a quick cameo in the 2018 film, and then you guys got to utilize them, and you're the one of the three of you guys that actually are wearing one. Did you have any idea at that time, or did they let on that it was such a big deal to some of our fans like myself?
Absolutely not. I had no idea. I thought I was literally just I thought I was just a trick-or-treater wearing a mask, a regular mask. And then the trailers come out, and I saw a couple of your videos, and you're talking about the Shamrock Kids, and I'm like, the Shamrock Kids? And like, yeah, dude, that was in one of the previous Halloween movies. So I find out like after I filmed this, like not only was I a part of Halloween Kills, but like I'm one of the Shamrock Kids. That's nuts. So no, I had no idea. I thought it was just a normal skeleton mask, and I thought we were just a group of kids and I don't think Salem or Giselle knew either. We just thought we were a group of trick-or-treaters.
Yeah, that's what they said, that they didn't. They said the same thing. They realized after the fact, watching trailer breakdowns and stuff like that, that that's why they wanted those masks in the shot so prominently sometimes, and that's pretty cool. So another thing now, after that scene, we see Giselle and Salem's characters on the swing set, and then we see your mask. Michael shows up with it. Was there ever any discussion that we might see more of your character, of Dennis meeting up with Michael and what ultimately happened to him, or was that that was never part of the plan?
That was and I tried not to read the scripts. And they gave me the whole script, but I'm one of those people where I'm like, I want to see it for the first time. Like I'll read my lines and what I have to do, but everything else I want it to be a surprise. But yeah, I don't think that there was anything else that was written or insinuated. Like, and the thing about David is he always has something up his sleeve, always 24/7. Like, to give you an example, I'm just making this up, but this is something he would do. For instance, let's say I'm on the Gemstones and I have no idea about Halloween Kills. It is a very David Gordon Green thing, thing to do, to go up to me and ask me, hey Gavin, what's your favorite Halloween movie? And I'll just name a random one, and then I'll smirk and then I'll walk away. And you'll have no idea what that means until a year and a half later when you're Kills. That never happened, but that's a good example of like how he works. So I'm really hoping that he has something up his sleeve, and there might be more.
Yeah, very cool, very cool. And of course that whole thing now. I mean, now they've got a new action figure of Michael Myers, and it comes with your mask, the bloody skull mask.
Really?
And
what?
It does. The Halloween Kills figure by NECA that they just released. That's one of the accessories it comes with, is the skull, specifically the bloody one. Yeah,
I have that. I've got to order that. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow. This is news to me. Gosh.
Yeah, it's totally part of it now. I mean, I've seen there's t-shirts There's a T-shirt that Fright Rags put out where he's holding the bloody skull mask. And I've talked to Carmela and Michael, who play the doctor and the nurse and all, and she ends up in your mask later on,
Yeah.
and another very memorable scene from the film, and I think already kind of iconic. And I told them, I said, there's going to be cosplayers now walking around as like Vanessa and Marcus in their outfits. But I think the same thing with you guys, with you three trick-or-treaters. I mean, now you can pay homage to Halloween 3 and Halloween Kills at the same time with these masks, and you could do the bloody versions now or the pre-bloody versions.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it's definitely one of the most memorable parts. So what was your favorite memory from the set of Halloween Kills?
Oh man, I would probably say I always love working with David. It is always, he truthfully is the best director that I've ever worked with. And it's not necessarily because it's just because he's different. He's so unlike the ordinary director, and that is so helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think just working with David again and getting to getting to talk to him and getting to collaborate with him with what he wants to do. And I would say if it wasn't, working with him, it had to have been when we were eating lunch and I saw the back of Michael Myers. I don't know if it was, I don't know who it was, behind the suit. Whether it was the original or the other guy. I just saw that infamous jumpsuit with bullet holes in the back of him, and I'm like, oh my god, that's Michael Myers. And I was too scared. I wasn't going to go up to him, so, not saying something. But I think if it wasn't working with David, it was definitely at lunch getting to see like the suit.
Mm-hmm. Seeing the shape there on set, I guess. Because you didn't see him like on when you guys were filming it all, I guess.
I don't know. Yeah, it was all insinuated. I think Giselle and no, yeah, matter of fact, I know Giselle and Salem got to see him because I had talked to her and she told me that Salem constantly talks about how freaky it was for her to see that on set. And I was like, oh man, I so wish I would have gotten to see that. But yeah, no, so I didn't get to see him at all. I only saw him at lunch.
So now filming wraps, and of course it's delayed. The world changes for a little while, goes through a little pandemic, and but now it's out, and it was a huge success at the box office. Broke some records on the opening weekend. When did you first see the finished film, and what was your thoughts? What was your reaction to finally seeing Halloween Kills for the first time?
I think I watched it. I watched half of it on the day that it came out, and then I was like, you know what? I should wait. It was like 12 o'clock at night. I was like, I should wait until I'm like more up and awake, and I can pay attention to this more. So the next day, I think I watched it with my mom, and we loved it. It really brought back. I didn't think that they could recapture the way the 1970s version made me feel, but they really did. They brought back, like with the flashbacks, I don't know how they did it, but like they really made me feel like it was the 1970s version again. And I thought that was a moment in the air that you could never capture again. That was just forever gone. And it only lives in the 78 version. But no, like they really did a great job at bringing that feeling back. So we loved it. We were so happy to be not only a part of the Halloween franchise, but specifically Halloween Kills because of how much we liked it.
Very cool. Yeah, we love it too. And And yeah, you said, you know, you're a part of this franchise, and this is a massive franchise. And I've asked this of some of the other people we've been lucky enough to talk to that are new to this franchise, and we've interviewed a lot that have done many of the previous films over the years. So I like to ask, I mean, has it really set in to you at this point? We're talking, it's the film's been out for almost a month now. Um, has it set in that you are truly a part of this massive legacy of the Halloween movies, of Michael Myers? You're part of this now. Has that set in with you yet?
Not at all. And I don't think it ever will, which is, it's kind of frustrating because it's like, I want to, you know, every now and again, I'll just be sitting and I'll be doing something random. I might see one of, um, maybe even your YouTube videos or a post about Halloween Kills. And I'm thinking to myself, like, I'm a part of that franchise, but it still doesn't, I still don't associate me with it, if that makes any sense, because it's so unreal. Like, I don't think it'll ever set in, which is, I really, I don't know. I don't think I truly don't think it'll ever set in. It's something I never dreamed in my dreams would come true. So I don't think it'll set in.
And as you know, we talked to Salem and Giselle, and I love hearing from them about y'all's friendship and how this, you know, I look at it as these tight bonds formed while running from Michael Myers in Haddonfield on Halloween night. Can you talk a little bit about that? Because you three have maintained a pretty tight friendship since filming wrapped over 2 years ago now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's crazy. I was thinking about it the other day. It's been two, I think, and a half years since we filmed it, and we've managed to. We call each other all the time. I talked to Salem like maybe 3 days ago, and I told her about the interview, and I watched the interview you did with her, and it was funny because before she did the interview with you, she came to me for advice, and I was like, well, I don't know, like I don't have any advice to give you. Like, I'll try to help you as much as I can, but yeah, like just on set, like people in general that share the same passion as you do, just you always seem to connect with them. There's been very little people that I haven't become very good friends with on sets. Some of my best friends I've met on movie sets. It's crazy. And I remember talking to Salem when I first met her about how she wanted to be a marine biologist, and Giselle. We all sat and we had to do blocks of schoolwork together, and we just had so much fun on that set. And I think we were all in the same headspace. We were all nervous. We all knew we were in a sound studio on Michael Myers, like where his house was. So we were all nervous together, which kind of was something that helped us get through it. And we just had such a fun time on set that we continued to talk over the years.
Very cool. That is great to hear. Like I said, lifelong bonds formed in Haddonfield at the Myers house. You can't beat that. That is so cool. So moving on from that, here even more recently, you worked on another movie. I guess it was after Halloween Kills you worked on it, but
Yes.
Another movie that was just released right around the same time, another Halloween horror film called Bad Candy that our audience knows. We've been covering that, and I actually interviewed the co-director, Scott Hansen, right before it was released. And so can you talk to us a little bit about working on Bad Candy and how that came to be and some of your time on that set?
Absolutely. It was a really, like, it was funny because I didn't even, I don't believe I ever got a script for that movie. I think it was just, me and Scott met a long time ago on a Pennywise short film that we were going to. And I really loved what he did. And I think he just kind of enjoyed me. And over the years, we stayed in touch over Instagram and Facebook. And whenever he needed me, he just would call me and be like, "Hey, do you want to be background in this? You know, we're doing this movie. Do you want to do background in this? Or I need a kid to do this. Do you want to come and swing by?" And I never really knew what it was for. I thought like I had filmed with him, I think 3 different times on Bad Candy, and I thought they were all different projects. Like I never, yeah, I don't think I ever got like a definitive script or knew what I was working on. I just was willing to help him. I loved working with him, so I was like, yeah, sure, whatever I can do. And then the last time, which was when I figured out kind of what was going on, he called me and he was like, "Okay, cool. I'd like for you to, you know, to play this kid who gets trapped in this house and it's set on fire." And I was like, "Heck yeah!" And that's when things started to come together. I was like, "Oh, wait a minute! So the thing I did a year ago was also a part of this movie too?" And he was like, "Yeah." So yeah, like it was just kind of just something I did for just to help him out. And I was really, really happy that I got to be a part of it, because when I watched it for the first time, it was a movie that truly brought the word Halloween to life.
Yeah.
Most horror movies are grounded and they're real, almost feeling. But he incorporated a part of Halloween that I feel like people miss out on, which is the goblins and the monsters and the creepy horror stories that you tell by a fire while you eat marshmallows. Like, it really made me feel like I was sitting with a group of my friends, eating marshmallows and telling Halloween stories. So when it came out, I was like, man, I'm so glad that I got to be a part of this.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely, you know, it's loaded with that Halloween atmosphere. I call it Hallowsphere. And yeah, it hits on a lot of the fun aspects of traditional Halloween. And it's also fun seeing the people that don't follow the rules of Halloween kind of get what might be coming to them. So yeah, you were part of one of the pivotal scenes in the film. You know that you know the house at the end, the fire and everything, which kind of brings everything full circle and ties everything in. So can you talk a little bit about filming that? That must have had some challenges that day.
Absolutely, and it's that day was a crazy day. It's funny because I found out again on that day, when we had filmed the house scenes. I was like, okay, cool. I now know this is Bad Candy, and this is for the movie that I had also previously done work for a year and a half ago. So I put those pieces together. But then I get on set to film for this day, and I find out like last minute, I'm a bigger part of this than I thought I was.
Yeah.
And we were planning on doing this really cool charred makeup where my face was like super burned and, you know, aftermath of the house. And I was so excited for it. And I got in the makeup chair, and 30 minutes into it, I was like, hey, I'm so sorry, but this actually, like, it kind of burns. And she was like, it burns? Like, how bad? And I was like, well, I never, you know, if it were a little sting, I would never say anything. And you've put so much time and work into this. I would never ever want to go back on it. But man, she had me rate it. She's like, okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, what is it? And I was like, it's like a 7. And she was like, we got to get makeup off of you. And it ended up being my fault because I used a lotion on my face that reacted to one of the chemicals. And it was funny because it chemically burned my face, which actually ended up being kind of a blessing in disguise, because my face looked great after that. It cleaned it, but it was totally my fault. Like I just forgot to tell them that I used a lotion that reacted with something that she used. So last minute they had to throw the mask on, which ended up, being really cool too. But that whole day, and then I met Corey Taylor, which was the coolest guy ever. I mean, there is nobody. I'm sorry, like I hate for everybody else that I've ever met, but he's the coolest I've ever met. I mean, he's at the top. Man, he was cracking jokes the whole time. He was just a really great dude. So that day was just all over the place and crazy hectic. But it was a blast, and like having Scott behind the camera, and as well as his the other DP, like they know how to make things look good. And seeing that movie, I was like, wow! Like not only did they tell an amazing story, but they really, the cinematography worked with it beautifully too.
Oh yeah, totally. I mean, it's a beautiful movie, and yeah, like I said, that halosphere, it just really pops in every scene. It's just oozing with Halloween atmosphere throughout, and every little bit of it. So no burn makeup, but they did have the mask, which is pretty. Like you said, that's a pretty cool imagery there. That pretty cool, memorable image of the burning mask right there. But yeah, I think that's going to be another film that people are going to continue to find, audiences are going to find over the next few years, and it's going to find its way into more and more annual October rotations, I think.
100%. That is a movie that it just oozes Halloween.
Yeah, absolutely. And open to sequels too. We could see some more of that maybe down the road. I wouldn't mind that one bit. And even more recently than that, you've worked on another film that hasn't come out yet, but maybe we can talk just a little bit about The Black Phone. This is another Blumhouse production, and filmed back in North Carolina. We're based out of North Carolina, and it's another one that's shot in Wilmington. And the trailer looks great. They released that a few weeks ago. The trailer looks really creepy and cool. So how'd you get involved with The Black Phone, and what can you tell us about your experiences working on that?
Well, it was just an audition, and a lot of auditions nowadays are self-tapes. So we film them at home and just send them in, and it was we read the script, and I originally read for a different character. I went to a friend of mine's studio to actually film it, and we filmed it, and we worked really, really hard on the audition, and I was really proud of it. And we sent it in, and they liked me. And the casting director that I had met in person years ago ended up getting on a Zoom call with me, and for a virtual callback. And she had me perform the scene again, and gave me a few notes live. And yeah, I did it with her, and she was like, "All right, cool. We'll give you a call back. We'll let you know." And I think it was 2 weeks later that they had me audition for another role, and this was Moose. And I auditioned for that, and I might have been a few days later that they said I booked it. And I was like, oh man, that's awesome. Like, because I think I remember from reading the first script, I was like, no matter what this is going to be good. I really would love to be a part. So when I booked Moose, I was like, oh my God, yes. Like I got to be some, in some way, shape or form a part of this. And so, yeah, I got on set, and it was filmed in Wilmington. We actually did the COVID tests over at sound stages in Wilmington. It was weird being back there, because over down there was where the soundstage was for Halloween Kills. And yeah, we went to location and filmed, and it was I guess I can't give that away. Oh no, I don't want to be I don't want to give anything away. It was an intense scene. I will say that. And I did things in that scene that were a whole nother side of acting that I had never experienced before. And it really brought a whole new appreciation to what that side of acting is and does, if that makes any sense.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was an amazing experience. It was, and to meet Scott Derrickson too. I got to meet him at the end of it. He came up to both of us, and he was like, just complimenting us and saying thank you for coming out. And I was a little starstruck because he's the one who got me into Marvel movies, with Doctor Strange. And then I back and I watched the Sinister movies, and I'm like, oh my God, I remember these. These used to terrify me. I can't believe I just met the writer of those movies. So it was an amazing experience.
Yeah, it definitely looks like it's going to tap into some of those Sinister vibes. That was a very terrifying movie, and of course, having Ethan Hawke in starring in it. And again, I know you can't say too much, and we don't want spoilers, but is there anything you can tell us about Moose that we can look forward to without spoiling anything?
Let me think. I am probably not the best person I'm so bad at like keeping secrets. I would say that if there's anything to know about Moose, he's not the friendliest person. And he can get into, he's not the friendliest person. Goodness, I'm trying not to give anything away, but I know being on the other end of this and wanting to have details. What do you think? Yeah, he's not the friendliest person, and he might do some things that are not verbal. Yeah, and I think that's as much as I can say, because I feel like I am like on that line of slipping.
That's cool. Yeah, we don't want to go over the line. We don't want any spoilers.
And it's just it's not even you. It's not even like you're asking questions that are hard. It's just I'm so bad at keeping secrets that I'm trying to not even go there and take that risk.
And again, not specifically about the character, but for people that don't know, or maybe haven't seen the trailer, can you tell our audience a little bit about what the Black Phone is about?
Well, I remember when I finally booked Moose, I got the script and I was like, okay, listen, Gavin, you're going to be more prepared than you were on Halloween Kills. Because you let your nerves get to you. And I still look back at that performance and I'm like, I critique it. I'm like, oh, I wish I would have been more prepared, but my nerves just got a hold of me. So I was like, you're going to be more prepared. So I read the entire script. Man, oh God, I read that script and I hate reading. I read the whole thing and it is an incredible script. I've yet to see much like it. And yeah, it's about a boy that goes missing, and he gets trapped in this basement or in this room, enclosed room, where there's a phone, and the phone hasn't worked in a long time. It's disconnected from the wall, but he hears previous victims of the captive, and the previous victims help Finney. And I found out very soon into reading the script that and here's another thing I can actually tell you about Moose that I think won't be too revealing. Moose plays a role in helping Finney. So that was very, very cool to be able to play a character that had a significance to the story within itself.
Yeah, it definitely looks like a cool, unique take that we haven't quite seen before, and just an original idea that I can't really think. Like you said, having read the script yourself, I mean, just from seeing the trailer and that synopsis, it sounds like something we haven't quite seen this spin on before, with the ghost of previous victims actually kind of being there to help the current victim. Definitely a different spin on the ghost story and the abduction story, but it looks fantastic from the trailer.
Yeah, I saw the trailer, man, and I was blown away. But you're absolutely right. Like I remember reading the script and going, man, I don't think I've seen anything like this be done before.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to that one. So you have been so busy. What else can we look forward to from you? What have you got coming up beyond the Black Phone? I mean, I know that's probably going to be the next big thing, but what else can we look forward to seeing you in? I know you're super busy right now.
Well, yeah, thinking about it. Again, I am the worst person at knowing what I can and can't say. But I would say that keep your eye out on possible things because some stuff is coming out soon. Let me remember the date. Oh, goodness. I believe in January, something that I'm in will be coming out. And apart from that, I don't remember. I'm working on a personal project of my own called Primal Taste, and we're trying to get that up and running. And hopefully that should be filming, within the next couple of months. But other than that, I think that's about it. But my memory is awful. I could get off of the phone with you and go, oh my gosh, I forgot about this thing. But I would definitely keep your eyes peeled because there's some stuff coming out that I think people will like.
Very cool. Well, hopefully there's going to be some more young Jesse in the next season of Gemstones.
I hope so too. Yeah, I really do. But who knows? We'll just have to wait to find out.
Absolutely. And you mentioned your own project, Primal Taste. Is that what it's called?
Yes, sir. Yes.
What can you tell us about that? Is this something you're directing yourself?
So, me and a very good friend of mine, Michael Frazier, who plays the cannibal, wrote a script together called Primal Taste. And yeah, it's about a cannibal that kind of haunts a small town in South Georgia. And a girl goes missing, Sophia Carter, and a local detective starts to put the pieces together. There are a couple of that are lining up that shouldn't quite line up, or that are telling. And as he puts the pieces of the puzzle together, he starts to realize that it goes a lot deeper than he probably ever wanted to know himself. But yeah, we shot a little promotional video for it just to give people just a taste. I just edited it myself, and just to put something out there, and we started to GoFundMe for it. So yeah, hopefully we can get the budget raised, and I've got a lot of really, really talented people that if we can get the budget raised, would love to be a part of it, and I'm super excited for it.
Excellent, man. That sounds very exciting, and something else that we're gonna have to keep an eye out for, because that sounds like something else that's right up our alley.
Dude, yeah. Ever since the Black Phone and Halloween Kills, I forgot how much I loved horror, and I loved just Halloween and the horror movies and scary movies in general. And I was like, man, I just really want to work on another scary project. So I decided to get with some people and to make our own.
Oh, that's awesome. That sounds great. And yeah, I mean, we can't wait to see it and to follow the development of that project and to see the Black Phone when it comes out. That's going to be great. But this has been amazing, man. This has been really great talking to you today and just getting to learn more about your journey to this point. And I know you're just getting started and you got a lot of cool things coming your way. And I can't wait to watch it all happen for you.
Dude, this has been awesome. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, man, for talking with me today. Like I've seen your videos, and when I saw that Salem got a chance to talk to you, and then Giselle, I was like, man, I got to talk to this guy too. But yeah, thank you very much, dude, for giving everything that I've been working on a shout out. And yeah, I would say that there's some pretty exciting things to come in the future for horror fans and just fans of good movies in general. So keep your eyes peeled. That is the my ending saying. Keep your eyes peeled, because there's some cool stuff coming out.
Oh, we absolutely will, and I'll look forward to having you back on to discuss more about those when the time is right. Because I'm sure we're gonna want to learn all about those projects when we can talk about them.
Oh yeah, and I can't wait to tell you the fun stories I've got. I waited a long time to tell people the story about Halloween Kills, and it's nice to be able to let that out now. So yeah, I wait to reveal those things, when the time comes.
We'll definitely be keeping our eyes peeled. Well, again, thank you so much for talking to us today. I know our audience is going to appreciate it and look forward to what's coming up next. And like we say at the end of all of our interviews, every day is Halloween. So happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween. Yes, dude. Thank you very much.